Spiral, 2 Jews, 2 mics, 2 hours, starting now.
You know, I've decided I'm into transactional audio analysis.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
My sound is okay. Your sound is okay. Oh, this is hot off the presses. Don't you remember I bet you had a lot of funny transactional analysis bits.
Is that I'm okay, you're okay? Is that whole thing?
Yeah, that's what it is. Yeah. I'm okay. See? The worst Abbott and Costello routine. Why is it? What's the best way to go with this? Is it all right like that?
It's okay.
Is it good?
It's fine.
Okay.
There's no video concerns, so it's really whatever feels good.
I have. Oh, okay. That's good. Oh, thank you for saying that. I was, of course, as usual, I asked the question without waiting for the answer.
You are perky for a Monday morning.
I know. Well, it's a holiday weekend.
Right.
So normally I wouldn't, I'd be at work and I'd call in with it. Right. I'm on day 4
of
the baseball package, of the MLB package.
Really? That's
yes.
That's what you've decided is going to be your thing this year, huh?
Well, for years I felt guilty that when the Mets were like, and it sounds like a joke, but they normally would be 4-53 now, or 7-27.
Yeah.
That's what they would normally be. And so I would always feel guilty about not getting in, about not wanting to get into it if they were going to get destroyed.
See, that's the part that sounds like a joke to me, that you actually felt guilty about that.
No, I have that thing.
The Mets are there for your entertainment, Andy. They don't need you.
Yeah, but I did. It's so funny because there's an atheist friend of mine who's a Mets fan, and I don't actually haven't met him, so I don't know.
There's a joke there.
What is it when you say that's implied?
Yes.
That you're But I told him, I said, after the Mets and Jets won, because I have to tell everybody has to know that I went to the World Series. He was one of the few people who probably hadn't heard it.
Yeah.
Because I assume he knows me only from my work. But, so I said to him, so I prayed to God after I said, I don't want anything. This part is true. Well, none of it's made up. I will never ask you for anything again, God, after the Mets and the Jets and the Knicks won.
Wow. What a fucking waste of a prayer.
No. You misunderstand me as
You're
my
like
dad
the
would
guy
say.
the genie gives 3 wishes. Go, I'm good with 2. I'm good with 2. 2's good.
No. No, don't. I meant you. You can't misunderstand me. That's my. I just love saying that because my dad said. It wasn't. It was just on this topic. Don't pray to God anymore. Okay. It wasn't like a world peace.
All sports bets. The sports bets window is closed.
I did present that in a terrible way. But Andy, it's 1972 now, and I notice your mom is sick. Would you like me to intervene?
No, I'm a man of my word.
No. But it is your mother who girded whose loins you girded, who you came out of her girded loins.
Miracle Mets, baby. Broadway Joe.
It's like it's like a funny little mascot that not the country, but the people listening to our show can make fun of. Every time every new topic comes up, we can imagine me. Hey, imagine me in triaging, Josh. If I called you up one day and said, look, I know the show business thing is not working, and I know you told me that I should avoid some jobs with my OCD.
Right.
But I think this triaging at Sherman Oaks Hospital. You're lying. No, I'm not lying. What hospital am I triaging at? Can you triage at a Van Nuys? Wait, we have 2 hospitals. We have an Encino Hospital.
Yeah.
I assume there's a Woodland Hills
There's
hospital.
a Tarzana, which is the one I I'd point you to in a pinch.
That's the worst thing I've ever heard. What's wrong, Allison? What's wrong? How's Andy? I don't know. I pointed him towards, First of all, he's a hypochondriac. You don't think he's really sick. This time he could be.
I don't know. It wasn't funny on Twitter, so we'll see.
Hey, look, if I went by that, I wouldn't have a career. So I'm going away. And I know
ha
you're
hee hee hoo hoo ha ha.
I'm going to go away, hoo hoo hee hee ha ha, for vacation for my 20th anniversary, ha ha, where life is beautiful, and they'll put me in a little outfit, hoo hoo hee hee.
Are you going to San Diego ish?
Yes, ish. I'm going to that area.
Original site of the crime, the original scene of the crime.
Original site of the crime, and I'm going next, and this is going to be a perfect Jewish story.
Yeah.
I couldn't make reservations until I knew that I wasn't. And by the way, for those people who have been concerned, I have served my jury duty.
Oh, that's right. We never did follow up on that last week.
Yes, I called in Monday. They said call in Tuesday. It's a great story. Call in Wednesday, call in Thursday, call in Thursday, call in Friday. And then the thing that's great is when you call in Thursday night after 7, they save you that extra one click.
Yeah.
Because all of a sudden they know earlier than you that you have completed.
Yeah.
So you go to that page, it goes, you have successfully completed.
Right.
Huh? We threw you a bone this time.
Nice job, Weinstein, they say.
I couldn't make reservations till then. And then this is just a tip from Andy Kindler. If you want to go somewhere and you can't make reservations to the last minute, the weekend after Memorial Day is an excellent time is maybe the last time to try and go.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's a good
decent price.
It's a good window, yes.
Sunday, Monday, and Tuesday. We're going in Sunday when everyone's going out.
Right. Absolutely.
And then we're coming back next Wednesday. So I have to make special arrangements with you.
All right.
For various things.
Okay. Fair enough.
I'm mainly referring to the show, but I'm talking in code so people wouldn't know.
Right.
Me and you have to talk before this. So I'm very excited. I'm very excited about it. I'm very proud of myself. I spent my own money on this too.
Meaning you didn't
not
hit
Rich
your
brother.
Okay, that's good.
Now, normally the way this works is, you say, "Hey, Rob, just letting you know the Big 20th's coming up.
Right.
We don't expect anything for it." But Susan was saying, boy, she wishes she could get away for a couple of days.
I just don't know if I can sell enough plasma before then, but
Yeah. No, I'm just telling you so you know where I'm not going to be because I can't afford to go anywhere.
All right. But now you're flush with your 2020 tax refund.
And the 20, right. Did I say that I'm ahead of you?
Yeah, you were wrong.
I've already said it to my brother, too.
You were wrong, yeah, but sure.
Oh, well, because you're done.
Well, yeah.
Oh, that's ridiculous. My brother's not done because he actually has some kind of complication to his taxes that he has to wait a little bit. He may have a different fiscal year for all I know.
That's right. So, well, I'm glad you're spending your own money on this trip.
I wanted to say this to you, Josh.
I'll take facts I didn't need to know for $300 now.
No. It does feel good. It's going to sound terrible to people who are struggling. It does feel good to put your own skin in the game. It does. It feels like I really bought myself something.
That's great.
Yeah.
Some of us have been doing that for our entire adult lives.
I don't understand it. You mean you go places without a family member picking up the tab?
Yeah.
Now this is a law. This is by law. My family does this because we're Jews,
right?
And we get. Where's my? How come I'm not one of these Jews? Where's my? It's not remissions. Where's my
reparations?
Thank you.
From the Egyptians, is this?
Yes. Hey. Well, there's no Pharaoh around, Andy. Well, someone could give me something, right? At this point. I've decided the only thing I can do during the show that I feel is okay to do.
Yeah.
And I'm not even being funny about it. Because as you know, I'm not being funny about it.
It's not your thing. Yeah.
No. Is drink coffee.
I understand. And then boo your approval with each sip.
No, because here's the thing. I don't want to mess up the sound. How do I explain this pause?
By going,
Okay, I'm going to take a sip of coffee and you Chuck Todd me, okay? So how's everything going? Can you, what's the matter, Chuck? Boy.
It was a long sip I had to fill.
Didn't you think he'd be gone by now? He's effectively gone. Why are they keeping him around? Just for show?
Probably just contractually.
They are the new MSNBC now. I see they have a younger person. They have you don't need, what's that song? You don't need maturity. We supply it. You won't find it in a book. We tell you about it.
I don't know.
Now, I'm doing a takeoff.
Doing.
Okay. Here's the original song. You don't need experience. We give it. You won't find it in a book. You'll live it. That used to be the Army song.
Okay.
And I realized quicker than I normally did that you're singing something that doesn't relate to a person who wasn't with you when you were born.
All right.
Yeah. Oh, well, watch. Let's see if this works. Can I see if this works? Clyde.
Yeah. Okay.
I wish the people at home could see your acting when you played along.
I did.
Oh, so that means, okay, so that's one thing I wanted to say. I have things prepared, but I am ready to cede to, wait, is there someone else here?
No one good.
I don't do the podcast on my own? No, I don't mean I do it on my own. Don't I do my part wild? Is that a funny joke, right? Because there's a reference?
Yeah, it's so funny. Super funny. Super funny.
I know that you watched Supernature this weekend.
Supernature. Supernature. No, I did not. You know what I did get caught up watching this weekend for some weird reason is the show on Apple Plus about Ewan McGregor's motorcycle trip.
Oh, I love that. No, I haven't seen it. What's it called?
It's called something up. I can't remember, but
is it about a real trip?
Yeah, it's he and his buddy on, they've done a couple other trips apparently on, I think it was a BBC thing. Or maybe it was Apple Plus from the beginning. I don't know. I don't think so. No, it wasn't because it was like 14 years ago. I'm digressing a lot here.
Yeah, but you see, for me, people would think they would think nothing of me.
But whatever the case, it's these guys on going from Tierra del Fuego, the tip of South America, to Los Angeles on prototype electric motorcycles this time.
Oh, wow. Well, you have to go on a ferry at some point, right?
There was a couple of little ferry rides, yes.
But you could actually do it with a ferry?
Well, they're doing it, yeah.
You know, I just realized that
the real issue for them is charging the bikes and managing the batteries and all those things. So, and they're also accompanied by electric SUVs. So battery management is a huge part of the series.
I don't know what why are people always going on these crazy trips that I wouldn't do? I know you do.
Because they have a life in them that you don't possess. Sure.
I know. That's why I stopped. Right. I stopped the sentence.
But he's a charming guy. He's a charming fellow, and it's fun to see him. It's fun to see when people, because he was Obi-Wan Kenobi in the Star Wars. So he has this kind of fame that he doesn't really, you forget about it kind of in the course of the show, and then he'll be like at Machu Picchu, and 50 people will be lining up for selfies with Obi-Wan Kenobi, and he just has to suck it up. But there's also times where they're like, "No, we won't let you into Colombia," and they're like, "Are you a Star Wars fan?" That's fucking Obi-Wan.
Did they get them in?
Yeah, absolutely. So I like it because it's not, they're not faking anything. Like the production aspect of the support of their trip,
right,
is played as an open part of the story. So it's the story.
Yeah.
It's the story of them taking a trip and filming the trip. It's not the story of them taking a trip surreptitiously filmed,
Well, this is the
so there's a
thing.
process element to it that kind of hooks me in always.
Yeah, so it's not. In other words, like you're not. It's so less contrived that part of it is good.
Yeah, it's like there is a third motorcycle and the guy who operates the drones driving. Somebody's talking. This is our drone operator and blah blah. So it's not.
As opposed
it's not
to that
like so much reality shit where it's like they're stranded alone and yet the coverage is excellent.
Well, yeah, but that's then the Bear Grylls thing, right? Well, I'm saying his name wrong, but he actually was caught staying in hotels.
Oh, was it?
He was the extreme food guy, Bear Grylls.
He's an extreme,
yes,
extreme survival guy.
Right, and it's not that he doesn't have skills in the woods.
It's like, why use them when there's a fucking hotel there?
yeah. Let's cheat this. Hey guys, let's cheat this. Hey, do you want to catch the exterior of that hotel? We have an exterior of a hotel. What are we doing a documentary? I would love to be that guy, the guy who's on the reality show. But that's the thing, is that the fact that it's not contrived is so would make me want to watch many things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
I was going to ask you though, who's a British guy who told a story? I didn't mix them up, but I do mix these guys up. It's not Jeremy Irons, but it's a British guy who told a horrible story about how he found out that his family member got beaten up by a black person, and so he ran around London for the next week looking for the black guy.
I don't know this story.
Oh, okay. So I think it's one of those type of things where, did you hear when the two Jews went on and on about the one thing that the one guy remembered about a black thing, and then it just got embarrassing? Yeah. So I won't go on further about it, but it's not Jeremy Irons, but I know I could feel, it was like, he told the story, and then it was just like, everybody was like, he thought everybody would go, of course, who hasn't? He's overcoming his prejudice, is what he thought the story would be. Old British guy overcomes years of strange prejudice. But no, he was saying, it's like, you know, like many people afterwards, I went around London. Come on, give me an English accent. I went around London all week looking for a black guy.
Oh my God.
I know I can do a voice. I know I can. You have some vodka. Look, have some vodka.
Have some what?
Vodka.
Oh.
Come in here, Mr. Wyatt. Here's going to be the Russian interrogator version of Mr. Weinstein. Please come to this room. Yet. You will come this way. Yet. You will come this way, Mr. What is that voice?
That's Boris Bad.
There's Boris Bad enough. And this is Boris Horrendous. Mr. Weinstein, I am Ilya. My name is Ilya Kuryakin.
Really?
Yes.
Hi,
this
Ilya.
show that you... Because sometimes on Saturday Night Live...
Hi, kids. This is my friend Ilya Kuryakin. How you doing today, Ilya?
Because I've noticed on Saturday Night Live in the last 20 years, sometimes you don't know what the stone, the inanimate object on the chair is supposed to be, Pat Leahy. In other words, like two people do it. I can't talk, but they do. You don't know who the impression is, so they have to go. Yes, I am Pat Leahy from the January 6th Commission.
Pat Leahy, how did you get here? Yeah.
Oh. The show you are watching is Man from U.N.C.L.E. That's the show you are watching. Now, you could do it in 1 second if I said to you, give me a voice from the old Mission Impossible Russians. Go.
We must stop them at the perimeter, comrade.
We must stop them at the perimeter, comrade. Now, that's not better. That's not great, but it's better, right?
I guess. You still don't get the part.
I love the idea of a finely honed voiceover artist. He doesn't even have the patience to hear what drivel. I guess it was better.
That voice will get us killed at the airport, but whatever.
Tell us where you're really from. I am from a Russian Republic. Probably Is Chechnya a Russian Republic? You don't. The spy doesn't ask, is this
Right.
Is Babe Ruth a baseball player? That's not what he asks.
There's the moo.
Well, the thing is, I just realized right before we talked that my problem is, well, you know what my problem is.
Yeah.
But my problem is overly thinking.
Let me assure you that if you just quietly drink your coffee and then resume what you were saying, I can take that little part out. But if you rush back to the mic after,
I don't believe
in the back, then it's harder. It's
what
harder.
are you saying to me? I think you're lying. Did you hear that?
I did, yes.
Is that going to be loud enough for the sting?
Sure.
For sting purposes? Okay. Here's what it is. I think that I just figured it out. I think I'm so fucking interesting and charming that everyone's expecting me. People who can't even see me, but you're expecting me to comment on what I'm doing. Hey, I'm over here drinking coffee. That's my modus operandi. And so the reason why I shouldn't be on a podcast, they let me be on the podcast. The reason why I shouldn't is because I thought by now in therapy, I would be able to eliminate the other voices. They don't seem to be going away. So now my new theory is just forget the voices.
I think an ignore the voices strategy is a much sounder plan than the eliminate the voices.
Oh, yeah, true. Who's that? That's Tim Allen, right?
Right. If you could treat the voices like you treated me, you would be in excellent mental health.
Oh, so you're saying... I thought you were saying something sincere for a second. So I was like, let me think about it. So here's the other thing that's true about me. I don't listen in the moment.
Right.
Because I have so many things going on.
Sure.
First of all, it's not just about this podcast now. Yes, it is, you stupid fucking idiot. It is exactly about this podcast. That's for you, Josh. That's for you. I have texts coming in. I have no excuse. I just realized, I'll show you something, a little bit of the progress I made today, Josh.
Uh-huh.
You say, wait the 5 minutes. You see that? There's some kind of a...
What is that?
It's like one of those oat bars.
I gotta go full screen on that shit.
You say, I'll be 5 minutes late. But my whole thing is I don't want to be 5 minutes late. So I stopped eating that at around 10:27, and that worked out good.
That's good.
And the theory before, the OCD theory before was, if I don't complete the entire oat bar, I'm going to get hungry during the amazingly long shoot we have
Right.
that can't possibly be broken up in any way.
All right.
Once I start, I have to attach, because a lot of times I have one of those pee things, those are pee to go.
Uh-huh.
I know they have those, so I just want to show people
the airplane catheter, the stunt flying catheter.
That's not what that's not how I bought it back when I was on the road, and it was called A Comedian's Friend.
Ah, okay. I thought that was heroin.
I did look into buying one of those, and this was back before I had any bladder problems. I looked into...
I didn't know you had bladder problems.
Oh, don't we know?
I thought it was ED stuff.
Go fuck yourself. Don't you know about my prostate?
Oh, yeah, but I thought you Flomaxed that into submission.
But you don't take Flomax every day.
I know you had a going problem. I didn't know you still had a growing problem.
I don't, but I can't stop the Flomax. It's not like, okay, thank you, Doc. I stopped the Flomax. It worked. No. You don't stop the Flomax.
Right.
So
you
stop the
can't
Flomax.
stop the Flomax. Nobody can stop the Flomax.
There are so many versions now. I would say there's 20 versions now of Sky Rizzi. I'm not lying. There's different people.
Right.
They have like a jazzy guy. There's nothing on my skin. That's on me. I want you boo back and take a do boo. Ooh. And I have all monk version.
Nothing on my skin. That's my little plan. Nothing means everything.
I bet Jim Mason couldn't pitch that product, though.
It's got it makes your skin have an unusual texture all its own.
It's eliminating a texture all its own.
Well,
it's not some...
Everybody has their own individual texture.
I can't see James Mason doing the voiceover for What You Should Avoid. You know what I mean? Like, it could do this, it could do that. I don't think...
If you find a scaly rash on your taint, consult your physician immediately. It could be fatal.
Oh, dear show. Thank you for fulfilling my request of James Mason as Andy's penis coming to life. Oh, but I've certainly been out for quite a long time, haven't I? Oh, I'm exhausted. Again, the wife would like me to. I think that's a good character. I'm going to explore the character of the effete British snob as my penis.
Yeah, I don't buy it 1 second.
Oh, come on. Nobody wants to hear you anymore.
Can't wait for our big anniversary party back at the site of the honeymoon. Oh, that's going to be fun for me.
How's your goddamn little Twitter? Don't you have a little Twitter account?
Yes.
Yeah. How many followers?
Not a one.
What a burn. What a burn. Did you hear when Andy put down? Did you hear it? Oh, he really got over on a...
My Twitter account is completely ineffectual.
Yeah. Yeah, no, but I'm telling you, it was such a burn on Andy's imaginary penis. What? You know how Andy talks about the fact that his penis hasn't worked since 3 Shavuos ago?
I was going to go Tisha B'Av, but...
And, my wife keeps going, I don't have a problem with it. It's fine with me. That's the jokes. I need more jokes based on that. My wife wouldn't want to have sex with me.
All right.
And what other age jokes? Her mother... Oh, no, all of our parents are dead. No mother-in-law jokes.
Yeah, it's over for all of us.
Why is it over for all?
Because we got no mother-in-laws left.
I've got boom, boom, nothing on my skin. That's on me. Boom, 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 boom. Nothing is everything. Bow, 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 wow, wow, wow. What? Hey, ladies and gentlemen, it's Junior Gibson playing the Skyrocket song. How's everybody doing tonight? That's on me. Everybody, just the ladies. That's on me. Am I doing a black voice? I don't know.
I don't know, but Clyde hates it. They heard your racist dog whistle.
I watched what's good? I'm still watching it. I'm not completely done with it. It's the Nielsen documentary. I loved it. You told me about it.
Yeah,
to begin with.
It's been taking you like 6 months to watch it.
Yeah, I know, because now Susan's watching it with me and she loves it. But that guy there's the idea that he could whistle. Might have been the best whistler on the planet.
Sure.
Well, you're good.
I'm good, so I won't jump in with mine.
Can you do, give me a little, isn't there something, can you give me a couple of 1 bar of raindrops? Keep falling, and don't they have a song? Okay. Nothing's worrying.
It's a little windy, a little breezy, but
you know what though? Isn't it? You have, you have excellent ear pitch, but is it hard? I would imagine. No, maybe it's not harder to stay in.
No, it's the same as singing.
It's the same thing. Yeah. But let me see if that's true then. To beat me. Is that how you do it? Don't discreet me. Hey, I hate this kind of thing. I could never have done this job. Hey.
Yeah, I still can't do the thumb and forefinger whistle at all. Or the two pinkies.
Try it.
Or the two pinkies.
Can you get anything out of it?
Shh. No. No.
Wow. Now, here's what I say. Don't you tell me
I
if it
consider
wasn't
that
a
one of my
challenge.
life's defeats, by the way.
I consider it one of my life advantages. I can sneer on both sides of my mouth independently.
Yeah, imagine you perfecting a sneer.
It's particularly good because you could see the bile build up. You had time for everything there. You had time to pause and deliver it with venom. Oh, wow. Imagine you learning how to independently sneer at different various parts of your body.
Oh, you can't just talk out of both sides of your mouth. You got the whole package.
What if I really was a liar?
Oh, what if?
Well, no, I mean,
When's
I'm a
the last time you
liar.
smoked pot, Andy?
What's that?
When's the last time you smoked pot?
I don't do pot during the show.
You have a spray? Jesus Christ.
There's no way I need to do pot while I'm doing the show. So that's just a lie. If you want to lie, Josh. Wouldn't it be good? Would it be if I could do one of these things? Tie myself up.
That is sad that you have weed banaka on hand. I have to meet this new person. Am I stoned enough?
We have fun here on the show.
Oh, it's
People
a party
say we
every
don't,
morning.
but we do have a show. Now, for example, right now,
Yes.
because I had that laugh.
Uh-huh. Endorphins abound.
Okay, so what the endorphins mean? I'm totally fine now. I'm not trying to push the conversation.
Right.
I'm not going through my mind. Come on, Andy. Do a stupid anecdote. Come on. Hey, go on, Andy. You know, interrupt. It's the best. It's really good, Andy, when you do it. Go ahead, interrupt. I think he's on to, I think he's actually he's forming a thought now, Andy. Get him! What was that an impression of?
I know you, I think.
Oh, okay.
The voice number 3, I think it was.
Well, you do admit that I do my mom well. And
You
even
do.
though it's not
You
her
do.
voice.
Absolutely.
So it could be anybody from Queens. But could I get an actual booking with, hi, I'm a Jewish woman from Queens? Maybe I don't audition well. Josh, I have a couple of other things to bring up with you.
A couple of other things. Paging Dr. Freud.
The way you captured that is so great. That's you did that with all the verb that someone tells you when you're done with your car. You want to wash mine, huh? You having fun there today? I enjoyed that car washing thing. When you're done, you want to wash mine. How many forced laughs as a kid did we have to give to unfunny parents? Not our parents,
Yeah.
but unfunny adults.
I didn't give it up easy, I have to say.
Oh,
That's a lifelong affliction of mine.
Oh no, I would put myself in the obsequious school of surviving life.
Yeah.
You know?
Sure.
Yeah, hi, don't beat me up. Don't beat me up, taller person.
All right.
Please don't hurt me.
The path of least punishment.
That should be a good name for your new album. If there was less going on, you couldn't call it an album. Starring Andy Kindler. If it was less focused, you probably couldn't sell it as an offering. That sounds like Jeff. I just think about Jeff Garland because Jeff Garland's the kind of person who has to be everybody else's fault. And I can understand that. But like when he would fight with Bob Odenkirk, when Bob Odenkirk was trying to direct his stand-up thing, they had to come up with different ways of dealing with the fact that Jeff would not say anything all the way through.
Yeah.
But then when he would be called on it, Garland's like, that's my style, man. See, this is what I'm saying right now is, had I years ago, told these kind of stories instead of just tweeting after not seeing someone for 8 years, hey, Jeff Garland seems to be causing a lot of trouble at his show, just like he caused in my friendship. See? This is the way people have traditionally passed information on about people in the business.
Right.
And it doesn't sound so cheap.
Right.
And because that's a funny story now. That doesn't seem, I'm not saying, you don't come out of that story going, Jeff Garland is a raving egomaniac, narcissistic sufferer of personality disorder. No, that's not how, and I had to take him down, not anonymously, but I had to take him down. He was right that I took him down, having previously said nothing to him.
Right.
The reason why I said something to him was because he had said something like, because this is what his style is like. I'm on the Goldbergs. I don't even know when it comes out, really, because I don't watch my, I'm on the Goldbergs Thursday. Not that if you watch TV, I don't. And he was getting in trouble for that. And then I pointed it out that he, in the interview about what he thinks about the show, he had to say he didn't even watch it. Uh-huh. And this is after being talked to. Come on, Jeff. Throw us a bone.
All right.
Because he's fighting. Here's what I just realized. He's taking everyone down with him. That's what he's doing. He's not just self-sabotaging.
Right.
He wants to sabotage the whole crew.
Right.
I can't be an artist.
He is belittling the work of 100 people that he works with every day.
Right. Yes. And I'm not comparing Jeff Garland to this man. And I'm not. This is not, but it's going to sound that way. But this is what happens. Mussolini, they blame their own people all the time.
All right, sure.
Mussolini said, and I think if I had been evil like Mussolini, I would definitely have taken his route. Fuck them. The Italians, you know what? You people don't deserve my goddamn fascism. Now,
that was a Saget thing on America's Funniest Home Videos when he was the host, was always divorcing himself completely from the material and every joke he said. And even though it went directly from his laptop to the teleprompter.
Oh, so was that like an annoying thing? It's like an annoying.
Yeah, I think people around there got a little tired of it. I wasn't there for it, so.
Oh, I'll never forget Elmer Dills years ago. You remember him, right?
Restaurant critic Elmer Dills?
Yeah. He's like, he takes time out of his nightly blather on Sunday night. He's like, oh, when you're, try this thing, try that restaurant, try Gladstone's for fish if you're in there. I actually enjoy this show. It's called Funniest Home Videos, but I don't enjoy the so-called comedian who hosts it. And to me, I'm just in the car. It's like, that's kind of hit harder than my stuff even.
Although
right?
I have to say that's kind of how I got my job on the show. Was literally kind of going, well, my friends like the videos, but they watch it muted.
Hey, look, let's go 100, as we say. Let's go 100, as the kids say. Bob Saget was a very funny person. I experienced him being funny. But you would not know it from watching American Home Videos because that is his comedy. I had never watched the show that much, but I imagine there's a lot of that's gotta hurt stuff.
There was some, but it was also the real problem was the falsetto animal voices was really my problem.
Let me hear a little bit of that.
Hey, I'm a dog. Hey, give a load of me over here. Hey, come back. Hey, come back.
Does he ever do more than one voice of
I
the?
Think, yes,
I
think he did.
Yeah.
He did.
Get away from me, bird.
I can't say I watched the show a lot before I took over, but but I did, and I think he didn't. I think if he watched, he didn't like me. I got the vibe he was off put by my approach because I did do things like falsetto animal theater as a bumper and stuff.
Right, and here's the thing about Bob Saget, and we can say this now, not just because he's passed, but because who can hurt us? No, the point is that. This is true of a lot of funny people. He was hilarious. He could be hilarious, but he didn't. I don't think even with all the experience that he had, he got success so fast that the funniest part of himself was really more in like conversation. And he was also a good actor. And I mean,
right.
That kind of thing.
Yeah.
But people, it wasn't because he was dirty.
why he was funny? No.
No. Although how dirty he was could be funny sometimes.
Sure.
He just was.
Sure.
When he would tell you, I had to take out insurance on what was the show he was on? I had to take out insurance at Full House.
Full House in America's Funniest.
Because they wouldn't say anything insulting to the Olsen twins. I mean, he talked to, the thing that was nice about him was he was very open. He wasn't like but the thing is, that is, in a way, it's weird in a way, because I don't know if this is like artists, if they could only do this, but like he was a hilarious guy. I'm thinking if he could have just relaxed. Why am I wishing something other than what happened?
Yeah, well,
it happened the way it happened.
And it's not like, yeah, I mean, he had 2 shows in the top 10 for several years in a row. And like when America's Funniest Home Videos came on, if they'd air it more than once in a week, it would be number 1 and 2, So
yeah, right.
He was, you can't really feel bad for somebody who has huge success, even though it's not flavored the way they wanted it to be,
Right. I guess I could just say, I mean, it's almost like that Bob Odenkirk joke. What are you going to, they go, what is Seinfeld going to do after Seinfeld? What are you going to do after Seinfeld? It's like people, when you look at his career and you go, I wish, there probably were people who said, he's always going to be the cute dad. We can't have him be a tough criminal or something like that. I mean, those things I think do affect people's careers, but it's not really important stuff ultimately.
Well, nobody gets to pick their career,
True. It seems to me like I have.
Well, you can pick the negative.
Well, but that's the thing. I've picked something that if I got too much recognition, the only thing about me that's funny wouldn't work.
Right.
I know I'm presenting myself as a total loser.
There could have been a situation where your portrayal of failure would have rang completely hollow.
Right.
Thank God. Thank God it never happened.
It did though in comedy club. Like if to me, if a comedy club set was about to go off the rails, and then you go, and then to me, I was, this isn't fun here. I've never bombed like this. The problem with that approach is that some people in comedy clubs, if they see that you're not confident, that's it. They're not going to listen anymore.
Right. No.
Oh, he doesn't like his stuff.
No, these people need leadership.
Right. They need leadership. But in the grand scheme of things, the fact that I couldn't entertain those people really isn't important. I'm not saying it like a grand pronouncement.
No, but I feel like, it would have been a different thing had you tried. You know what I mean?
It would have been a different act, you mean?
Yeah. I mean, it's one thing if, you really wanted to be a road comic and you worked to make your act work and you couldn't do it. But instead, you kept to your thing.
Right.
And it didn't translate everywhere, or it doesn't translate everywhere.
Right. So the thing is, like,
but you never tried to translate it.
No. Well, I could take out the jokes on the road that would be specifically about people in show business behind the scenes that most people don't know.
Right.
But then I always feel like, who are you being a hero for, Mr.? So I always was like, I have to make this next 45 minutes work as best as possible. So I'm not going to walk the crowd like Jeff Garlin often would do.
Right.
Because Jeff Garlin, he went like this.
No, you seem way more fragile than Garlin on stage.
Oh, well, what's that?
You seem way more fragile as an audience member. With Garland, it's like a defiant thing.
Yeah,
with you, it's like, please love me, please.
Well, Garland did this Jewish fundraiser thing in Minneapolis. I did it the next year or whatever, and there was like, he knew there was going to be little kids there,
right?
And he was told he's doing a thing to raise money for the temple, and he starts cursing and complaining about the gig, and so like to me,
so you're a hero the next year.
Well, I wasn't necessarily a hero, but my feeling is I don't think it's a hero. I don't think you're Lenny Bruce if you made a third grader at a Jewish function cry.
I agree. The compromise was when you took the gig, not when you went and tried to be cool at it.
Yes, that's right. And this is true about like people. Even I'm not going to say. Yeah, a woman who had the same representation as I did, and then she went to this country club gig and started complaining and she's getting paid $10,000. She starts complaining about how there's not women allowed in the country club. And it just like it's in other words, there's self-sabotage involved in that. I know it because I felt the exact same thing and have done similar things. I'm not comfortable here. You people suck. Right?
Despite your inviting me and paying me handsomely. Yes.
So I think that comics who couldn't make if you couldn't say in your mind, I'm going to take this gig and I will make a couple of compromises because I like to get through a time period because they're paying a lot of money and they'd like to have fun.
Yeah.
And
well, as dry as it sounds, the one word is professionalism. It's like there is a fiduciary duty to entertain an audience if that's what you've been hired to do.
Yeah. I guess I always felt I have to do my time.
Yeah.
Right. But I've never done a thing where I've walked off stage, but I have said, okay, this is it. I'm not doing the other stuff.
Right.
Like when I was at the Funny Firm, the Funny Firm really was like being a Gillies bar on a mechanical bull. And, so. Yeah,
especially in Chicago where Chicago comedy was all about leadership. It was all about being well, they were heckling.
Hicks on the sets where they're hilarious because he's yelling, but he's not doing well during the shows.
No, and
he's fighting with these crowds.
Yeah, and I've seen him completely decide to punish crowds too. Where he was like, I just ate it for 45 minutes. Now it's your turn to eat it for 45 minutes. And just watch the crowd slip out over the course of the next hour,
But the difference between me and him is that I think at that point, he really didn't care. Whereas I always cared.
That was how he got a win out of the night.
Yes, he did. Yeah. He absolutely did.
Yeah.
Because they deserved to be
He insisted on taking a W. So he was going to get it one way or the other.
Yeah.
Are you bouncing?
I lost you, but I lost that whole last part, and I feel bad about it. But I just want people to know that it wasn't me. Oh, he's gone again. Do you think it's me? It could be my reception.
I don't know. Somewhere
it could be my reception.
Somewhere there's bad internet moments happening.
Yeah.
Can you see me? Could be me.
I can see you fine, but the point is that I want any of the listeners to know that when we don't know what's going on, we feel as bad as you do. We don't want moments of the show that just seem like snippets of random conversation that was recorded.
Right, but if you keep talking about them, I can't edit them out.
Are you angry at me? No, I'm trying to do this bit. You sound angry at me. I'm not angry at you. I guess if you're in a duo, you have to have terrible bits because the bits themselves are all based. Each one of them is a lie. Right. Hello, Shavuos. How are you? Oh, very good. This is a great ball game. That's why it's a tough gig.
Yes. Conflict is drama.
I did it for 3 years.
I know, but you never did it well.
Andy and Bill?
Yeah, I never saw it. I have no idea.
I'll never forget. I've had so many embarrassing things in my life, but one of the most embarrassing was playing a thing at a Thanksgiving. Andy, it was really based on Andy. You're a comedian. Play some of your and I played them this bit from Andy and Bill, and it was like a minute in. You go, oh my God, this is going to be the worst experience in the world. This is family members, not immediate family members, but extended family members not understanding what you're doing and thinking you're unfunny.
Right.
And I remember 2 minutes in, and I remember we mercifully turned it off. But, and I remember being angry at the time, but it was like, they don't even, seriously, there are some of my relatives don't even, I was going to say, get me. They don't even think I'm funny.
Imagine. What planet are they from?
That? I continue to be amazed by the uneasy mix within me of egomaniac, destroyed man,
right,
sniveling, apologizer.
Yes, the self-loathing, self-aggrandizing balance is really one of the great high wire acts of emotional all time, I think.
Well, I used to do that. The character was based again. This will seem funny now, but I did used to do it in the quote act. But it was I used to do Patton Oswalt as the something like he's the unconcerned. He's the accidental egomaniac or something. So it's like he's like, I can't believe I'm in a cab going to my own. No, I can't believe I'm on the way to get a Nobel Prize, but I can't figure out what 20% is on this tip on the cab. So I can't remember what it was. As the unassuming egomaniac.
It's the humble brag, is really what
yeah, that's right. Yeah. Wow, this is crazy. I'm getting a lifetime award for comedy, and I forgot my goddamn wallet. Stuff like that.
Right.
Someone, you'll think of it before I do, but I'll let you know. It's an actual fun. But see, the thing is, I would be afraid to do it back in the day because I wasn't comfortable with my anger as a bit.
Right.
Now that I'm away from that bit, I think had I those kind of jokes, I could have delivered with a little, we all love you, Patton.
Right.
But I do love him, Patton. I do love him.
Uh-huh.
I do love Patton. So
keep telling yourself that. Keep saying it.
I do. No, I really do. I mean, nobody's made me laugh more than him. I think he's great. But I mean, I've also had issues with him.
Right.
But this whole idea of when you come up against that, I thought that me having a judgment about somebody made it questionable, and then I would deliver it questionably, or I would get angry at the target.
Right. Yeah,
those were the two classic things.
Tone management is really your issue.
Yeah, it really is. That's why this weekend when people went after Ricky, I was so great. Ben Lee, and not just dropping a name, he's dropping a name. I'm not just bringing up a name because he's a celebrity. Ben Lee, yes, you are. You are doing that. Okay, maybe I am. So Ben Lee direct messaged me about Beck Shaw, who had written this great article about how hacky Ricky Gervais's stuff was in his latest special.
Yeah.
So I could retweet that. I could enjoy it. I don't have to watch it now. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
You learn ways of getting this stuff out in a more healthy way. But not that I even care about this. No, I do care about it. I really do think I'm on the other side of this issue where I really do think like maybe it's going to affect these people like Bill Maher. Maybe it's already affected Bill Maher. People do think he's a fucking idiot.
Yeah.
A great majority of people would not think he's entertaining in any way and think he's kind of a jerk.
Yeah, but I think that in terms of
don't go as far as me though. I know
this isn't defending Bill Maher at all. This is, I think, in terms of what the goals of modern TV are, he's still serving the fiscal purpose, which is come Saturday, Bill Maher is always trending for some fucking thing he said.
It is unbelievable. It's all about getting trending points.
Yeah.
But ultimately, what used to be was like, I think Gervais was successful on his own terms. I think he's going to be less successful now because he just did a whole special of horribly bad jokes on a variety of subjects, making fun of the victims of the joke. So it's AIDS. It's like, why would you make fun of trans people? You just wake up in the morning and you go.
I think he did it specifically because it's naughty.
Yes, exactly.
And that's, I mean, that to me, it's even, it's a notch below, what's his face? Dave Chappelle in a way, in the sense that there's not even feelings behind it.
Well, that was there was another article that said the difference between Chappelle. I tweeted it. It's like the difference between Chappelle and Gervais is that Chappelle stuff is based on something he's really taking personally. Right. It's obvious that he's angry about trans people for some horribly despicable reason.
Right.
And so he's getting his anger out. So he's also funnier than Gervais, who's not a stand-up. So Chappelle, I think, could fool more.
Well,
more people.
I don't think you can give him the pass of he's not a stand-up anymore. I think you can call him a shitty stand-up now.
Right. I always think of it as in a parallel lifetime. Had he tried and gone into the trenches, he would be a better stand-up. Why do I have to do that? He is who he is, a horrible stand-up.
Well, yeah, and he dismisses the craft of it, so it's...
Yeah.
And
he's already bragging. I mean, you have to be, first of all, I just realized, there's something pathological if you tweet, not only have Netflix has already picked up my next special. Thank you, everyone who watched Supernature, and the animal charities. Thank you as well. I mean, it's just so despicable to me. I'm not going to put down the charities, but the fact that he is packaging this whole thing as I have to be unassailable because I'm giving money to charity.
We're hate laundering.
You got to write that down for the speech we never do. Hate laundering. And also, he keeps talking about, like, he's interviewed and he goes, I didn't realize this when I first tweeted about this last week. I didn't realize, I thought he was joking because I can't watch him. I thought he was joking. I thought he didn't do jokes about AIDS.
Right.
But he did. Like, he's going, I talk about it all. AIDS, pedophilia, trans people. I'm not
right. And you get the feeling that he wrote it like with cards on a wall that said AIDS, trans people. Just.
Yeah. But he's then saying to you, no, it is totally legitimate to go after a group that's being picked on and laughed at. I'm actually getting a laughed at, a group joke. Hey, have you seen these new women with the beards and the things? That's he's getting a joke based on what you do, what I didn't do when I was 9 years old, is make fun of people's looks it's really like schoolyard British schoolyard, which is lower, I think, than American even.
Yeah.
Well, you can't. Why do you compare horrible things?
I'm not going to get into a schoolyard debate with you.
But the thing is this. I started this whole thing out by trying to make a point, and my point is that I think it's very good for the good team or for positivity that these things become so transparent. I really do thank these podcasts like I Don't Speak German and Ina, who I listen to, who very clearly show you how white supremacists have always othered people and gone after them. And this is no different than that. This is like trans people. They've done this all along. Like Bill Maher, that was why he started his show. Oh, this is the stuff I can't say. Politically incorrect.
Right.
I can't say. It's always like, horribly bad jokes under the guise of, we're just making fun or whatever the thing is.
Right.
So.
Well, and the truth is, hate aside, it just makes them seem like fucking fossils.
He really does. It's like, what are you even talking about? Don't you think the
because
Chappelle
all
thing?
of those others are out there doing comedy now, and this entire generation of young comics all leads with their otherness. Every comic leads with their otherness.
Right, because or they're just identifying themselves, or that's what does he see it as? Oh, these people. I'm trying to figure out what makes Chappelle the way he is. I don't know why.
Well, it starts at narcissism and it starts at people criticizing them, And,
that's true.
If you look, I always go back to the Trump model because it's such the perfect storm of narcissism, But if you take Trump and then subtract however much you need to get to a real human being, that's what's happening is if anybody speaks against me, I have a desire to revenge. I have to avenge every slight.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing with Trump being, I'm not.
And so there's this, cabal of narcissists, and that's how this, anti-woke thing is happening because it's all about these are the people criticizing me, Yeah.
It is sad, but no, like I say, it's sad. But it's like, it's like Jimmy Fallon. By the way, just to give you an insight into who I am, but you probably know who I am. I went through 4 things of listening to myself, listening to you, criticizing myself for listening to you, criticizing myself for criticizing myself, and now I've done it to the point where I can't remember what I was saying.
All right.
So what was I going to say? What was the topic again?
It was you.
You won't settle for less than perfection. You always look before you leap. Got your head in the right direction, and you don't go stepping on no one's feet. You got the answer to every question. You always think before you speak. You're able to make the proper connections. You know just how to keep your secret. When the blues come to call on you, you just push them out of the way. You know how to take it so nice and easy, and you don't let nothing ruin your day. Oh, you know just how you feel. You know you are for real. You're just too good to be true. To make the most fantastic suggestions. You're happy to help and you're so discreet. You're able to laugh with the greatest affection. You're smoother than honey and just as sweet. You back the winners in every election. You read the papers, you don't miss a beat. You pick your friends from the finest selection. You know what to lose and you know what to keep. And when you hear those voices calling, you just smile and turn away. You know just where you want to be going. When you get going, you go all the way. Oh, you, everything that you do, there's just no stopping you. You're just too good to be. You're just too good to be. You're just too good to be true.
Tilt your screen down. There you go.
What is it? It's bugging you, right?
I'm a director. Having that kind of shot composition just makes me nuts.
But now, why is this thing still in the way? Oh, because I have to
That arm extends.
Okay, I'll tell you what happened.
The boom quality really shines in that situation.
What happened was last night I adjusted the boom so I could have it standing straight up.
Uh-huh.
And that meant that I had to put the arm down more. So now it's like, oh, I don't even understand what this is. What is this thing that I'm talking? I don't even know what this is. It's all confusing. So it's like that. So that's better now, right? What is that sound? Josh, do you hear that? I'm not kidding around this time. I know that I hear things sometimes, but do you hear like does this sound like a baseball card is in the spokes of a bicycle?
I'm not ready for my final.
Yeah, that really is kind of like. Now you have to admit this is professional right now, right?
No, it's not. Tilt up now.
Okay.
All right, there. Dead flowers in the shot again. Everything's good.
Okay, I have to disagree with you vociferously. They're not dead. They're dead flowers.
They are 100% dead flowers.
That's
Andy.
the bit. That's the bit.
Yes.
No, I think they're very lovely. I have new ones coming in too.
Oh, good.
Well, what do you do when you go on? This is my background for my sometimes my cameos. What do you when you go on? Let's say you go on CNBC
Yeah.
and they're asking you about your What did they ask you about? What would they ask you about on CNBC?
Why are you here, sir?
I am Josh Elvis Weinstein. I am a writer, comedian. Yeah, but why are you on CNBC? My friend Andy Kindler's brother, Rich Brotherton.
Very rich.
He is
man.
often on Squawk Box on this very network.
Very rich.
Are you familiar with him? Yeah, I can see how he would be on the show. Rich Brotherton International
Right.
Mergers and Acquisitions. But why are you here today?
Well, I'm here to talk about my SEP IRA plan.
What is that? Oh, did you know that I finally followed your advice and got the Roth IRA? I finally bit the bullet. Is that like a secretly anti-Semitic thing?
That's the Rothschild IRA, is what you're thinking.
How did the Rothschilds make their money?
I think in baby blood, Christian baby blood.
Now, Josh.
Yes.
I can do that. No, I can do this better. Hold on.
How do you not have a situation? After 3 years of this, how do you not have a situation?
No, because what doesn't change, there's one ingredient that does not change throughout the years. It's me.
All right. That's true.
You know what I'm saying? I'm a fuck up, Josh.
You're an inconsistent constant.
This is my new thing. I'm going to be like, oh, Josh, I'm such a fuck up. Please forgive me. Please. Don't you have problems? What am I doing? What's the accent?
That is actually more endearing. I like be that guy.
Oh, God. Oh, gosh.
Mother, may I have some more petite marshmallows for my cocoa?
I'm from Minnesota now.
It's the only Billy Crystal. It's the only Billy Crystal impression I enjoy doing.
Well, what's that from?
It's from Running Scared.
I didn't see that one. Is that where he's a French referee? Is he a referee?
No, he's a cop with Gregory Hines.
Get out of here. It's not even possible. Billy Crystal is 3'7". He's shorter than me. He couldn't be a policeman. Okay, is he following the rules or does Gregory Hines break the rules?
No, they're the partners that work outside the rules. Both of them together.
Didn't that goddamn Billy Crystal also
I'm
get
song,
to go?
he's dance. We're song and dance.
I'm quinoa. He's kale. I have to.
We're healthy.
Right. We're healthy. What were we talking about? I had something on. Oh, I was going.
Ooh, Billy Crystal. Ooh.
Oh, Billy Crystal. He's the one who. Oh yeah, he's back. He's back with a hot off the presses.
All right.
The Mr. Saturday Night is going Broadway. I think it's already open, right?
I think so.
Look, Mr. Jerry Lewis, get out of my way. This, for people who don't know, was one of the best, and Josh will agree with me, one of the best films about aging and show business.
Yes.
And comedy.
Yes.
Mr. Saturday Night, I think it was 1990.
It said it all. It said it all, really.
Yeah. And just to I'll set it up for you. You will see Billy Crystal in thick. You can actually measure how thick his pancake make. He looks 25 years older than Jerry Lewis, who's playing his own age in the movie.
I don't remember Jerry Lewis in that movie. Was he in that movie?
I think he was, yeah. I mean, I'd be very sad now if I was wrong, but I do believe. Can I ask the board?
Sure.
Bibby. Why would his name be Bibby?
Bibby on the board.
I like to think of myself as good in the moment. I don't see it.
I think you're mixing up Mr. Saturday Night and
with
King of Comedy.
No. I think that I would not make that mix up because that's like one of the greatest.
Did Jerry Lewis just do a cameo in Mr. Saturday Night?
Yes, he did.
Okay.
I think he did.
It's very possible.
Because I remember the scene and
Billy
I remember
Crystal,
going,
a lot of goodwill. He had a lot of goodwill in Hollywood at that time.
This is the only thing that I feel sad that I can't go out to the theater and that my mom and dad and my sister aren't still with us.
Yeah.
So I could go back to New York and stand at the half tickets booth like we used to do in the old days.
Yeah.
Day of show booth and get tickets to see. It's like seeing vaudeville. It's like seeing the history of stand-up comedy, I'm sure.
Yes, I'm sure.
It's probably a terrible show, but it's got to be. The producers was bad too, wasn't it?
I don't.
The movie, the stage show, not the movie.
I don't think it was. I think it was well loved. I never really embraced it, but I'm not a musical embracer generally.
Remember the song, Mr. Hitler? What you gonna do? I think you've destroyed every single Jew. Remember that song? Josh, the premise of the producers is that they think they're making something insulting, but people love it. That's what I'm doing. Hey, Mr. Jew, get into the train. No?
No, that's what you're doing. But their intention wasn't to be insulting so much as, I mean, it was to be insulting, but it was to fail. Their intention was to fail financially.
Yeah, but right, which is true. I messed that up a little bit. But you have to also remember, and people know this, but people may not know this. We know this. We know Jerry Lewis shopped the day the clown cried, right? He shopped a Holocaust-based comedy.
Yes.
That was supposed to be like Roberto Benigni in a way, right?
Yes.
It's never been seen. It's never been performed.
Well, it has been seen and performed now.
Oh, yeah, they read the script.
It's never been released.
It's never been shot. Oh, was stuff shot?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know there was stuff shot.
Oh, yeah.
Excuse me.
That's a little something.
I can't find my Flavin Clavin aunt.
There isn't a lot of it available, but there was like a Swedish documentary or some foreign documentary about it that included a lot of footage. It's worth a YouTube hunt.
I want to see it, and I'm against
especially now that Jerry's not alive to have his lawyers find it and take it down.
Once he's dead, can his estate still fight? Right,
his estate can still fight. Yeah.
Gary, for example, Gary Lewis, I understand, is very litigious. Not the rest of the Playboys.
Right.
Leave room here for laughs, okay?
Yeah.
Leave some room.
Sure.
For laughs. You might want to do a sting here, too. You might want to do a Andy Kindler classic comedy. He goes way, way back. It's another Kindler riff. It goes nowhere, and he's losing his mind. Dementia!
I'm just getting those clean. I'm just trying to get those clean.
A lot of times I'll try to purposely do stuff that turns into a sting. I think I like dementia. I like it. If you don't do something with it, I will do something.
I'll reserve a spot at the end of the show. Your golden spot is the last thing of the show after the final hang up. That's where you always.
Now, do you call that a department or something? Is that called the? You know how they go? That's the blow.
I call it the jackass tag.
If we do die, Josh,
I do hear the same plane as you.
Okay, but I'm saying if this was the big one, would you be pleased to go with me?
No, I'd be pleased.
No,
I'd be pleased to go adjacent to you, but not with you.
I swear to God, I would. Even though I'm into the podcast, I would be right down into my cellar.
Yeah,
down there.
You have the cellar now.
Oh yeah, the condo association, the HOA. We have we bought a panic room.
Oh, good.
It's the funniest thing I can come up with. Panic room.
You take that with you to every room.
And we continue on with the roast of Andy Kindler. It's now on the 15th year.
I watched.
You sound up. I'm sorry.
I sound how?
You said seem very perky today. That's what I'm saying.
Well, I went to. I started back with my trainer this morning.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's a long time leaving.
It is.
Same person?
Yes.
Aren't they retired?
Yeah.
Gagunga.
I don't even know why you think that was worth all that.
Do you ever look at me and see stacked meat? That's just my favorite part of the commercial of cartoons. You look at a cow and then they would show it like stacked as meat.
No, I see. I'm more of the. I see you as a big giant chicken leg. I'm more of a chili
That's
willy.
Right.
I got more of a chili willy thing going.
There was a time period where people did not really care about the animals that we were eating. Like we got a lot of pleasure playing around with the animals. I don't know where I'm going with this.
You don't have a bit here. No. There's no bit here.
There's no bit here. There's no bit. Has that ever stopped me before?
I watched.
Weren't you just in the middle of telling me something? You were in the middle of
I
telling
was going to say I watched Norm's thing last night on Netflix.
What was that?
Norm's posthumous homemade.
Oh, it's a special? Oh, wow. How was it?
It was okay. It was nice to see him, putting stuff out there. I mean, it looked like this. I mean,
right.
And this is actually a better shot than what Norm had going. But
was it during a club thing or was it?
No, it was at
show?
home. It was at home.
Oh,
to no audience. That's why it looked like this.
Oh, so it could have been that. So
you don't know this at all. You don't know about this, is what you're saying.
I know.
He
know
did
about it at all.
before, but when he was dying, before he went off to a treatment, he was like, "Let me get this material down in case things go south," which in fact they kind of did.
Wow.
So they filmed like with Apple. It looked like it was filmed with an iPad and a phone.
Right.
But he did a set. He did like a 50-minute set of just all the material he had stacked
Saved.
up.
Yeah. I'd be interested to hear that.
Well, watch it. It's on Netflix. You should.
I will. I'm not going to watch Ricky Gervais though. You're not going to make me watch that.
Oh, aren't you?
All right. You got me there.
And then they had like a panel of like Letterman, Chappelle, Molly Shannon, Sandler, and Spade. It's like a murderer's row for you.
You're like, it's almost like you come up with this anecdote to get me going.
But Letterman was there, so that should help.
That's the only. That's good.
And Letterman couldn't quite get his head wrapped around the whole thing. He just was like, but it's not stand up. What he just, he just couldn't.
Right.
What would it have been like with an audience? He was really sort of like,
pushing to come up with something to say.
Yeah, because it clearly wasn't. It wasn't the set he would have done if it was a special, but he probably would have, probably 25 minutes of the 40 or, maybe 30 minutes of the 50 would have been in the special. And you could tell that he was sort of fantasizing an audience as he was telling it. It was a fairly impressive, it was kind of like a final podcast more than it was a final special.
Right.
But his rhythm was such that you could tell he wasn't like pausing for laughs, but you could tell he was imagining laughs.
Oh, okay, but not as a bit, even. Not like when he was
just as a way, as a method to do it.
I don't want to know when I know this is a little bit self-absorbing comment. I don't want to know that I'm going to die. I've decided this recently. Yeah. Don't give me that 6 months or I don't need it. Haven't I done enough? Really? Is that too much to ask for, Josh? That I don't get Parkinson's? I don't want Parkinson's, okay? Write that down on the advanced directive list.
Okay, so you just want to die suddenly?
Well,
you know what I say to that, Andy?
What?
Just keep going. The way you are.
Look, I don't want to go by the something. I don't want to go by the other thing. I don't want to go by a third thing. I just want to die easy. And when I die, stop singing the stupid song. Okay.
Yes.
Laura Nero wrote that song.
Uh-huh.
And my version that I heard was Blood, Sweat, and Tears.
Uh-huh.
And I thought when I was a kid, all of rock music was going to be like, Chicago, like saxophones, and it's jazzy, rock, like that.
Sure.
Didn't go that way.
No.
Did not go that way.
It didn't. No.
But I still argue Blood, Sweat, and Tears were good.
Who are you arguing with?
Do you remember this song? Do you remember the song? Sometimes in winter. No, Andy, because I didn't grow up at the same time.
Make me so very happy.
I want you so much to see. Yeah, they did a thing like
I sang that to my wife. I sang that to my wife at my wedding. That song.
You sang. Oh, that's so cool.
With the trumpet intro by me.
So great. Well, it's less romantic now.
I've lost that love before.
What'd you do?
Got mad and closed the door. But you said, child, just once more, you came into my life. You bought my very soul. You really showed me that. Loving you is where it's at. You made me so very happy. I'm so glad you came into my life. All right, that's enough of that.
Yeah.
That's enough of that. My wife is going, what is this? Did I forget
What
her
is this?
anniversary? What?
But there's another part where it goes like, boom, where they do a whole thing. Boom, bop, bop, boom, bop, bop. I was like, I must be like listening to John Cale or something. Well, I didn't know his name at the time.
Yeah.
I still don't know who he is.
Really?
Is he the atonal guy, or is he more of a experimental country music guy?
It's the
there a John Cale?
John Case thing that you're sort of
No, I think I'm mixing up J. Is there a J. Cale? Josh, you're right. I am dying. Josh, you called it.
Time of Death.
Time of Death. The bit he did about McDonald's. The McDonald's drive-through was his time of death.
I watched Hacks as well. I watched the second season of Hacks now.
I love that show. I watched both seasons.
Yeah, what do you think of the second?
I loved it. I know you could say it's uneven, but I love all the different things they're doing. But I know. But let me now stop. Let me pull out of it so that you can then. Yeah,
I enjoyed it a lot. I still like both actors a lot, but the second season was basically like non-bro Entourage.
You mean with them two getting close and
their interaction with show business and the Hollywood stuff, and it really did start to feel like Entourage a lot.
Yeah, but Entourage was never funny at all. Entourage was Entourage had no irony or anything.
Well, that's not true.
No, they never had irony. That's one of my arguments about Entourage. If you watch it, it was all like, yeah, they weren't saying jokes that they meant the opposite. They weren't playing characters that you were to make fun of.
I disagree with that. They were playing there were comedy characters in that show. It just wasn't.
But they weren't
funny. But that's a difference.
They weren't. You weren't supposed to look at them and think about anything else that this was them. They weren't being portrayed as assholes. This was supposed to be that these guys are great. And they do not do, you'll see endings where you go, they're going to make fun of all these guys on the plane going, yeah, show business. They don't.
Right. No, they weren't. They were not. They certainly weren't ironic about showbiz success.
Right.
Yes.
That's the point I'm making.
Yes.
Nor were they
but
sarcastic.
But there was irony within the portrayals of things in show business.
You mean in the plots or something?
Yes.
Right? In the plots of the show?
Yeah.
You mean it's ironic that these idiots would have a show? What a terrible show. I mean, it's not going to even go down as good as Sex and the City, which was also a terrible show.
Yes.
I like these shows. I like Entourage. I didn't like Sex and the City. I watched for years, but it is a terrible show.
Yeah, I didn't watch it because I thought it was a terrible show.
At the corner of 6th Street and whatever, I can't even think of one of their names. Dolores? Is that one? Are you more of a Dolores or are you more of a Cynthia?
I'm a Glenda, I think.
I thought you were going to get one of the names right. Carrie, Midge, right? It's Carrie.
Yeah.
Midge.
Yeah.
Who's the sex pot? What's her name?
Sexy sex pot.
Saranda. Her name is Saranda.
Saran wrap. It's Saran wrap, I think.
Then there's Cynthia Nixon.
Uh-huh.
But she wasn't played as Cynthia Nixon.
No, she was played by Cynthia Nixon, however.
Right, but I think her name was
Tootsie, I think it was Tootsie.
It was Tootsie. I watched Tootsie again.
Really?
I loved it. I mean, I didn't watch the whole thing, but there were some fucking funny things in Tootsie.
There are.
And Terry Garr is amazing.
Yes.
And her relationship with Dustin Hoffman is amazing.
Yes.
So I was amazed and Sidney Pollack is on fire. I think he's a great actor. Now, maybe I'm saying that because I love him.
No, he has the funniest scenes in the movie.
He really does. When he comes into the restaurant and he's dressed as the woman, it's just really amazing. I mean, the movie, I know you told me that Mrs. Doubtfire was a better movie, but what I'm trying to get you to look at now is I'd never watched Mrs. Doubtfire because I thought it would be horribly disappointing.
Yeah. How could it disappoint you?
Oh, my breasts are on fire.
Seriously, how could it disappoint you?
Because so there was a scene where he goes, oh, my breasts are on fire.
Right.
Oh, kid.
And that would let you down from what you expect.
No, that made me want to go in. That said, hey, that's funny. Oh, so you're just like a woman, Robbie Williams. You saw that movie, I bet.
I'm just saying, if you go in thinking it's shit, how can it disappoint you?
I think the argument that if I open my mind up
That's
to
not
Mrs.
the argument.
Doubtfire,
That's not the argument.
What
This
is the
purely
argument?
a
What's the
semantic argument. That if you have the
my
lowest
argument?
expectations for something, how can it disappoint you? Except for by being good.
Well, I wouldn't go see it. But Robin Williams, I enjoyed him as an actor in some movies.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's a hypothetical thing of would you go see it, or how I would feel going to see it, or how much less could I expect of it. I would have gone in there. I didn't know it was the worst movie ever made. I didn't know it was, and I've seen scenes from it. It seemed really bad.
Yeah.
Are you sad because Robin Williams is no longer with us? I will stop talking about this.
I am not currently actively sad. No.
Okay. But
I was sad that he died.
Okay. I wasn't not unsad that he died. I wasn't unsad that he died.
What does that mean?
But
I wasn't unsad.
Well, it wasn't like John Lennon dying. I'm coming off. This sounds harsh to you. I know it must sound harsh.
No, it doesn't sound harsh to me.
When he died, he wasn't one of the people that I had a lot of feelings for. Not that he was that I didn't like the stuff he did, which I didn't, and that he stole material, which I didn't. He just wasn't one of the people who I ever was a big fan of. Were you a big fan of him before?
I wasn't.
At some point?
I was a huge fan of him as a kid. Yeah.
Right, because you were young enough to see. Yeah, well, I never could have watched Mork and Mindy or any of that. All that stuff looked terrible to me.
Right.
So, but it's sad. I mean, I actually do want to watch.
It wasn't until I was a stand-up that I stopped being such a huge fan.
Well, to be frank about it, well, you can be Jerry. No, but to be frank about it, I found out about him stealing material, it was such a pathological thing that it was hard to not build a case against him if you already didn't like him. I already didn't like his stand-up. I already thought his stand-up was everything I hated about stand-up. And I don't think he was funny as a stand-up.
Yeah.
But that would be, most people did, I think.
I initially thought he was very funny because it was new.
Because he was what?
Because it was new at the time.
Right.
But no, I mean, the blend of the stealing and just the sameness of the freneticness.
Or the gayness of the choreographer.
Once, it's like Aaron Sorkin. Like once the cast of go-to characters is there, you start going, all right, I don't need to hear big black guy anymore. I don't need to hear gay choreographer anymore. I don't,
Yeah. He was part of a thing that because that kind of comedy got terrible, it made it even worse for people like him.
Yeah.
For me.
But I did think he was a very good actor who made some really good movies.
I saw him in The World According to Garp. I thought he was good.
I thought he was great. I thought he was great in Fisher King. I thought he was good. He was really good in Dead Poets Society. Though I
liked him in every serious movie I saw.
Yeah, not everyone, but he was good.
Why do I overreach? He's had to have done bad movies.
He did some bad movies.
Well, what was the guy where he's across this seems scary? The one of the last movies.
He did that one with Goldthwait. He did 1 Hour Photo, and he did.
Oh yeah, where the guy's really horrible. The Robin Williams guy is like a murderer or something like that.
He's super creepy.
In one of those,
he's super creepy. I don't remember the whole movie, but
did you ever see Super Creepy?
I did.
That was not
he's super creepy.
I'm ready to go to questions, but I'm not insisting on it.
I insist you insist on it.
It's time for questions. What do you want to know? We love your questions so much. It's half our show. Half our show.
Pickle says, how often do you shower, and what time of day do you typically make yourself clean?
Are those two separate things, showering and making yourself clean? Or
Yeah, is that a joke that we're missing?
No, there's no joke. He just is prying into our lives.
I go back and forth. I always get scared if I take a shower the night before that I'm already smelling like an old man in the morning.
Yeah. A lot of decay can happen in 7
Don't say that. I can make fun, but don't let the others feel that I'm old and decaying.
Do a little decay rinse.
I do worry about it. This is something you do. Like, I'll be honest with you.
I think that's very considerate of you to try to keep your old man smell away from the rest of us.
I came home from I had a 5 mile walk, 5.3 miles. And Susan said to me a few days ago, she goes, I can smell you. She goes, very rarely can she smell me.
Yeah.
She said, that's how great it is. This was the first time I thought I was like the only man who could sweat. And it was like the ladies loved it, but no. And now I'm concerned as I get older, will I smell? Why? I don't want to smell like an old person.
No. Well, stay away from a lot of the powders.
How about the hard candy? Can that do it too?
It's okay. A butterscotch scent. A whiff of butterscotch never turns anybody off.
I'm glad I never got into the whole baby powder shower to shower or whatever.
Yeah.
But also, there's no reason why I can't smell good up to 89, 90, mid-90s. Then put me in an area, and then I don't care.
You had a better chance when everyone was wearing masks, but
I don't like this topic, but it makes me laugh.
BD West says, hello, Josh. I was wondering if you and your band do a version of the Americana classic brisket fried rice. Wait, what am I thinking? That was my brunch order today. My bad.
I see. I like that kind of an effort.
Okay, you thought it was more worth it than me, but okay. BDUS is back for an Andy question saying, Andy, I need your advice. In your opinion, is it worth risking Corona to see a 30-foot tall Mort? See the Big Bob's Burger movie, everybody.
I will just say this. I didn't go to not the premiere, and I'm not saying that they called me a lot to go, but I was invited to the premiere. I did not go. I will not be there.
Call me a lot to go? What does that mean?
In other words,
they didn't twist your arm.
I don't want to make it seem like yes, the premiere was not I went to do a voiceover on Bob's Burgers, and Lauren, who's the creator of the show, goes, "Are you going to be there tomorrow night?" I said, "No." He goes, "Why?" I go, people didn't know that I have. Not everyone knows that I'm not attending any events.
Ah,
Well,
you should.
You went to one concert, but would you go to a concert now?
I don't know. I would go to an outdoor concert.
Yeah. I wouldn't play high stakes poker like these guys are doing right next to I'm not saying I could play high stakes poker.
Yeah. But I've done a lot of stuff,
I know you have. You caught nothing, right?
I've caught nothing that I know of.
Isn't that amazing? Because you've been out there. You could have caught it.
I could have caught it. I was a little surprised I didn't come home from Minneapolis with any of it.
Tweet, 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 horror, 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 horror.
Ba 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 ba.
Josh, just watch. Tweet Bahara says, Josh, just watch a few of my favorite Josh MST3Ks. Great.
Nice of you to say, Tweet Bahara.
What choices went into Larry Earhart? How do you say it? Earhart's voice. I hear some Curly Howard and some Lou Costello.
Well, thank you, Tweet Bahara. The main choice that went into that voice was go really high because Servo was really low. And I didn't want people to constantly be going, same dude. It's the same dude. So Servo was like this. And Larry Earhart was like this. And because he was an evil scientist, I wanted him to just be fucking annoying. So
right.
Which backfired because everyone just thinks of him as fucking annoying now. Instead of
when they see those
lovingly
shows?
annoying, that they're just fucking annoyed.
Okay, so what they're doing is good. They're going back in time to time travel to make comments about the character.
Oh God, I've been getting derisive comments about this character for 35 years now, or 30 years now.
What was Josh
I just got
thinking?
the other day. Someone said something about how, Tom Servo, you 9 out of 10, Larry Earhart 1 out of 10, but still, it's like, what the fuck do I care what you thought of my 17-year-old acting? What the fuck?
Well, are you saying you did care a little bit?
Huh?
Are you
No.
saying you did care?
I cared at the time, but
Right,
you know, at 51, I don't care what people thought of my comedy performances at 17 anymore. I really
But
don't.
there was a time period, like when you left the show, that you were more. Well, there wasn't as much social media.
for sure. And like when I first got on the internet, and I could find whole rooms of people talking shit about me, and
That's the worst.
And,
I mean, I have a room like that for you too, but it's
that's
it's
different.
private.
That's a voodoo thing. So
You have to have a password. Wow.
So no, my earliest tastes of the internet included people talking shit about me. So
It's so it is so ridiculous, though, when you think about what they're actually saying. This decision that you made comedically on the day that you went,
right,
How could anybody pick
with no direction, preparation, or rehearsal?
And
it
Jim
had literally
Mallon.
been written an hour earlier.
Yeah, and they're gonna. I think those people.
But I don't. I literally don't care anymore. I really don't, because what can I do? It's like, what were you doing at 17? Go fuck yourself.
Right, exactly. But I always thought people were more okay. I just realized people are fans of the show. They're fans and going backwards. But then, just like any group, there's got to be that part of the group that wants to slam Andy Kindler.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely. And mostly
And
Mystery
no matter-
Science Theater fans. There's whole rooms of Mystery Science Theater fans just talking shit about Andy Kindler for some reason. It's weird.
Why is that? I don't think that it was my cinematic Titanic. I want you to read the Jason question because I'm afraid of getting his last name.
Jason,
wrong.
his hair was perfect. Parton says that was quite the opener last week, and I was grinning like an idiot when Andy got the name right. I missed the anniversary, Andy. I apologize. I know you were pretty disappointed when Jason Parton didn't wish you a happy anniversary.
Yeah, it got to me a little bit.
Well done to you and Susan both. And is there a better musical name than Kathleen, other than Karen, of course? I don't know. I think there's a lot of better musical names than Kathleen.
Is he talking about the Randy Newman song? Kathleen, Kathleen, Kathleen. I've always been crazy about Irish girls.
That's one example.
I never heard of a Kathleen in a musical. Just let it go, Andy. What am I?
It's not.
Can't I
it's
just
a
listen
musical
to the
name,
thing?
not a name in a musical. Like Allison, or Lola, or Jenny,
I got it.
or Eileen, which is a better one than Kathleen, as far as I'm concerned.
I'm going to have to put my thinking cap on for this one, Josh. I'm not doing it now.
No, you're not. You're drinking coffee.
Oh. Tim Jackson says, the finer the point you put on it, the less I'm on board. Is the most J. Elvis Weinstein thing that J. Elvis Weinstein has ever said, or that I've heard. Whatever. Thanks, Josh. You're the guru that people who eschew gurus need. The word eschew has always been hard for me.
Eschew.
Eschew.
Yeah.
He's right. When they're right, they're right. You're
If
the
I'm
man.
going to be a guru, that's the kind of guru I want to be, is the guru for people who eschew gurus.
Yes, because your energy in the universe, which I would call you he's super cynical man, if I was going to do a bad bit about superhero characters.
Yeah.
No, it is, I think you're almost creating your own stoicism type movement is what you do. Not the whole movement, but that's kind of what you do.
Yeah, I don't
Don't
know.
get too high, don't get too low.
Yeah, but that's not what it's based in.
I'm trying to insult you, though.
I know you are. But
I'm secretly trying to add a derision to my comments.
Yeah, I shouldn't have made those jokes about how close to death you are, because now you're making jokes about how dead I am inside.
Yeah, and one results in me not being around. The other one you can deal with.
Right.
That you're kind of a bummer at a party,
Right.
but I'm dead.
Right.
Thanks, buddy.
The nice thing about my affliction is it has no odor.
I can't just take it all out. Take it all out. I do not want one of these listeners to think of me and have a negative image.
You're going to latch onto this one, Stinky.
I don't want. I'm worried now that talking about the fact that my penis doesn't work.
Odor, that old man odor, it just keeps wafting off him. That old man odor. There's an Al Jaffe stink line above his head. That old man odor keeps stinking along.
I would like to know, is it technically that I'm wrong that only some old people?
It is technically.
I don't want it to be that every old person, because they haven't. I've had sex with many, many old people.
Sure.
And they smell fine. I'm so sick. I can't wait for this topic to go away. Oh, look, Josh, M.O. Marks has a question.
Oh, fantastical. Emmo says, I binged the Angeline show last week and was disappointed to discover that my first Angeline sighting was actually Emmy Rossum in character. Do either of you have any Angeline sightings from her more relevant years?
I have to admit that I really know so little about Angeline. I haven't even probably seen that many of the photos around town, so I really know very little about her.
I've probably had 10 Angeline sightings in my 30 years in Los Angeles.
Live?
Yes.
Like on the way into an audition? Or she was coming out of it?
I don't think she ever auditioned for anything. She drove around in her Corvette.
And what was her brand?
Angeline.
She's still around, right?
She is. But I saw her billboard many times. You obviously didn't spend any time in Hollywood. You were such a West Sider.
That's probably right. Yeah, that's probably in the South Bay. Because I figured that you told me years ago that it was an excellent move. Come to L.A. and then move a couple of hours away.
From the South Bay to the Valley, Mr. Kindler made his way.
Everybody is very happy because the sun is shining all the time. I'm sorry for adding on to it.
That's okay. It was great.
Peanut wonders. It's the Queen's Diamond Jubilee tomorrow. Lots of tiresome pageantry over here, but at least we get an extra day off work. Who would you prefer to walk around Buckingham Palace with? Neil Diamond or Lou Diamond Phillips? I'm going to go a different way. I would prefer to walk around Buckingham Palace with Buckingham Nicks.
It is actually they corrected themselves by saying they realize it's actually the Platinum Jubilee, which kind of fucks up the whole diamond thing. But
oh, I see. Okay, I've realized it's actually the Platinum Jubilee. You can tell I'm not a royalist. Question still stands, though. I have to think. That must be like, to me, I find everything about England charming. Because I don't live there and I like the accents. But if you lived there, it probably would become really annoying, these kind of things.
It's not like a puppy where it's always cute. I would go Neil Diamond on the question, by the way. My country, 'tis of thee. Celebrate a jubilee.
Yeah. Of thee I sing.
Of thee I sing today.
Is he like a crooner? Like a modern version of a crooner? He is not a crooner.
No, I would not call him a crooner.
But why is he? What is that voice where he goes?
I call him a forcer.
Oh, he's forcing his voice.
Yeah.
It's like, we're coming to America.
Yes. There's a recoil. There's always a recoil. Love on the rocks.
It's a recoil, or is it a breath out?
I think of it
Love
as a
on the
recoil.
rocks.
I think of it as a little kickback. The power of the word just forces you back a little bit.
I hope this story is true.
Dry your eyes!
I hope it's a true story that when he was on the Last Waltz, that after his set, he said to Dylan, follow that.
I do not think he did that.
Wouldn't it be great, though?
But his whole thing was, I'm going to do one song, and I'm going to do it well.
What was his song that he did? On the, I forget.
I think it was Dry Your Eyes or something. It was something that he had just done with Robbie Roberts and had produced it.
When you think about this, when you think you go in to see The Last Waltz, I didn't know that Robbie Robertson was in talks with this. You know what I'm saying? It's like all of a sudden You see, why is Mamie Eisenhower on this special?
Right.
Well, he was friends with the. But what a great special!
But
I'm
Neil
not
Diamond was
putting it
the
down.
only. Neil Diamond was really the only. I mean, there was
stuck out?
an actual connection, but it was kind of like,
Well, what was the
okay,
connection?
record company, we'll put Neil Diamond on the show. You know, like I just said, Rob, he had produced the song. He had just produced Neil Diamond, Robbie Roberts.
Oh no! But I thought there was a connection with the band. There's no connection with the band. They didn't use a jam. They weren't at Big Pink together.
No.
Unbelievable. I cannot read M. Ledsom's question. I leave it to you.
M. Ledsom says, "It's the Omen, J. Elvis. Love to you both." That's
What's
because
the context?
the question that she's answering, which had been answered many times in the chain, in which I asked it already, was you know of her fascination with the character actor David Warner, correct?
I do know that.
Yes.
Yes. She shows pictures of him.
Yes, and yes.
Who is he?
Who is he? Oh my God, Andy! Did you hear that, Em? Did you hear that, Em?
Is he a British character actor? Or
He is
has
a
he been in a
British
lot of?
character actor, and he's been in just a shit ton of movies over the years.
And I would know who he was.
You would,
right?
Well, apparently not, because she posts these pictures, and you don't know who he is.
Well, I thought there was more than one gentleman that
No,
she does that
it's
with.
David Warner.
Alistair Sims. She's very attracted to.
No.
That was a good call.
But I had seen a clip from a movie where David Warner gets decapitated by a large pane of glass, and I didn't recognize the clip. And many people jumped in to tell me it was The Omen.
Oh, okay. I got lost there at the end. That's great. Bandicoot B says, with both of you guys being Doc fans and one of you being
By that, doctors, they mean.
Oh, with both of you guys being fans of doctors and one of you being a bona fide director of doctor-oriented movies, do you guys have any doc recommendations? I especially enjoy ones with slightly more obscure subject matter. And yes, Josh, I have seen both of your awesome docs.
Well, the Red Dog is one I always recommend lately.
What's that?
It's that one about the sort of biker stripper people that I recommended to you several months ago.
Oh, I want to see it. Where is this?
It's on one of your streaming services.
Is it a docuseries?
No, it's just a doc. Delightfully, it's just a doc. One of my favorite showbiz docs is Overnight, about the guys who made Boondock Saints, and hilariously got tied up with Harvey Weinstein and stuff. I don't know. There's so many docs, and they all go away when I'm asked to pick one.
Right. I liked, since you were saying that other one, American Movie.
American Movie is great.
Yeah.
That's a classic one. I mean, another great film one is, of course, Hearts of Darkness, about Apocalypse Now. But there's so many.
I just saw a couple on your recommendations that I really liked, which was the one about Nielsen.
Yes,
I really enjoyed that.
We've talked about that many, many times now as you've been watching it over the course of weeks.
About that. I don't know that I've mentioned that to you, so let me talk a little bit about that and then there was another one I also liked the one that was about this group that were like the Cowsills, or maybe it was about the Cowsills.
Yeah.
It was pretty good. It was about that band. Am I making any sense?
Yeah.
Is it the Cowsills?
There is a doc about the Cowsills.
Yeah, it was good.
Good.
Oh, God, please don't book me on your fucking movie reviewer show.
Like giving birth that answer.
All right, I'm going to be the movie review show. Now, you asked me what I thought of the film. Go ahead.
All right. And so, what did you think of Red Dog?
It was good. It was good. It was red. I liked the dog.
Moving on.
See, that really was worth
that was
doing a bit about.
Little comedy cul-de-sac we just steered into. Thank you for that.
Do you ever do this thing? Well, if you have to write on a sketch thing, every time I ever write on a sketch thing, I'm coming up with ideas, and I realize I'm doing something that is funnier as a stand-up joke, and I'm trying to flesh it out now. Does that make any sense to you?
A little bit.
Right. Fuck me. No, really. I mean it this time.
Not enough.
I mean it this time.
Want to stay here and talk about it more, but
What's this from? I'm not asking. Oh, that's Paul Schaefer. Kick my ass. I'm not asking. Telling you, kick my ass.
All right.
Go ahead,
Esai 76 says on Thought Spiral, there's many a mention of the overused. Wait, what? Another one that bothers me is really. Normies use it too often, but the worst offenders were comics who employed it as their punchlines. Your thoughts?
It's lazy. But in the 80s and 90s, there were comics to everyone's chagrin would add these like little punches to jokes.
Yeah.
You know, that do become annoying. Like really, or that's all I do all day is think of this weird stuff. No, that's not the same as really. I don't think really is as bad as Wait Why for some reason is very annoying to me.
Yeah. It's horrible.
I'm not kidding, Josh. It's in every show.
It's in every
show.
Everything, yes.
Did you see Biden when he was giving that speech today?
I did.
And the guy said, I've heard that the Ukrainians are losing in one city. And Biden just goes, wait, what?
Yes.
Do you remember that?
I do.
I thought that was weird.
I was taken aback, yes.
I love when you play along with me. It's so cute. Dan Marsh says, did we answer that question? Yeah. Dan Marsh says, hey guys, what do you doodle when you're on the phone? Oh, it's interesting.
I don't doodle anymore on the phone.
I'm not on the phone.
There's that.
Like, right?
Yeah.
I do a lot of doodling. Do? Just shut up.
I don't have a
phone.
pen in my hand that much anymore like I used to. When I have a pen in my hand for a while, doodling will happen, but
do you put ideas in notes first, or do you write them down, or what's your thing?
If I'm in stand-up mode at all, like I'll just have a Word file for stand-up notes. That's open on my desktop.
Yeah.
And I keep that. Like there was
do you have a new Mac?
Like I had an Acme 22 file open for about a month before my do I what?
Have a new Mac or
I don't.
recently?
I don't.
If you on the new Macs, laptops, if you go to the corner.
That's just, I have that. That's the software. That's not hardware.
Oh, right. I'm sorry you're right. But then it just pops up and you can put it right into notes.
Yes. I've used that a couple times.
I didn't realize that was a software thing. And I didn't even realize till you just said that. I kind of know the difference, but I didn't until you just said that realize, of course, why would it be a new Mac would feature that? Get the new Mac with the new chip and the new thing that makes the thing from the side come up. It's unbelievable. It has to be software.
Yes.
Who am I now?
I don't know.
Okay, but it's nice. It's nice. Stephen Elton Yates, Stephen Elton Yates. Ow.
Stephen Elton Yates says, in 7th grade, we visited the Almond Joy Candy Factory and the Uniroyal Tire Plant. What was the best school field trip you can recall? I'm going to go to the Tonka Toy Factory.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That must be really cool.
Oh, God, yes.
How old were you then?
I was, in single digits still.
I don't even know what that would look like.
It's like a factory, but everything's tiny. It's just this tiny. And they have this little race of Tonka Loompas walking around.
I think my favorite school trip was the time I took LSD and we went up to oh, wait a second. That was when I was in charge of a school trip.
Yes. Those were day campers, weren't they?
People don't listen to this and then they can, there's a statute of limitations on what they can do, right?
There is a statute of limitations, yes.
I just remembered that again. I don't remember going to like the Bronx Zoo. I can't remember. To me, the best stuff was when they would show a movie in school. Oh, I love that in grade school. Every once in a while, they would just have a movie.
Yeah.
I'm very old, Josh.
That's not a field trip, Andy. This is not a field trip.
Oh, field trip. Field trip. I can't remember any.
Okay.
Sorry.
Then pass.
Pass. Oh, what do I do? Pass. Reggie Squirrelsworth. Oh, that's the first time I've heard that name. Reggie Squirrelsworth asks or says, when was the last time you had a hamburger? Who prepared it? How was it prepared? And what toppings did you have on it? Did you have fries as a side?
My actual last hamburger was a McDouble.
Really?
Yeah, I was fucking starving the other day when I was out running errands, and I had.
Was it tasty?
It was pretty tasty. It was familiar. It was very familiar. That was always, even though it's McDonald's and it's kind of, it's not high test, but I love their iced tea. They have the best brewed, unflavored iced tea. And that's my.
Oh, cool.
So when I was on the road, I would always go to McDonald's because they had the best bathrooms.
Wow.
And they had the best iced tea that I could take in my car. So I then, in addition to those two things, I started eating cheeseburgers. So I have this sort of built-in sort of space for McDonald's cheeseburgers.
I don't know if it's because my dad used to go to White Castle and he introduced me to White Castle, but I always loved the small burger at McDonald's. The little small burger.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I don't like double burgers for that reason, because I'm like an little old lady with it.
I understand.
I like what I like.
I used to be a 2 cheeseburger guy. And then I think as carbs became a more bigger issue.
I don't know. You keep saying this thing about carbs. I just read an article that said that bagels actually lower your blood sugar. You know who wrote the article?
Lenders?
Me.
Ah.
I wrote it as Lenders. I had a hamburger just the other day. Susan made it for me at home. It was Angus beef. And it was delicious. And we had, I put relish, ketchup on it, a little mayonnaise, tomatoes, and lettuce. That's how I mostly enjoy
Cheese?
it.
Any cheese?
Sometimes cheese, but not always cheese. And sometimes Susan does a thing with blue cheese, like
Inside.
Father's, that she got from Father's office.
Yeah.
Did you ever go to that one?
I have.
Okay. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
Stuffed? What'd you say? What'd you mean when you said stuffed?
I said, does she stuff the blue cheese in the burger?
Look, that is very rude. We stuff whatever we stuff. I'm making a sex joke of some kind.
Yeah.
No, she puts it on top.
You're really doing great with it. Christopher Citro saying, a pine in the front yard fell on our car last December. I bought a chainsaw, used the top 6 feet for our Christmas tree. After we got the car insurance bill, we figured the Christmas tree cost us about $400. Ever use a chainsaw? Ever want to use a chainsaw?
I'll go first. I've never used any equipment to do anything like cut something, and I think we're all better off for it.
Yeah,
I've never operated
They
a
only have
chainsaw or
plastic
anything.
knives at Andy's house, for example.
I've operated a carver,
Yeah.
but nothing like that. No, nothing like. I've never used a chainsaw. There was a chainsaw comedian. I don't know if you remember. He used to juggle chainsaws down the Venice boardwalk.
Yeah, that's more of a juggler than a chainsaw comedian.
True.
Yeah.
I stand defected.
All right. I have used a chainsaw. Those of you who know my album will know that I played Chainsaw Guy at the Haunted Mansion, or the Ghost Manor, actually, as a teenager. And as a homeowner, I also own a chainsaw that I bought a couple years ago, and a big branch came down, and I went, fuck it, I'm getting a chainsaw, and I'll do it myself.
You actually talked about this on the podcast.
I did, indeed.
Aren't you proud of me?
Yeah, it was good.
That's like 2 years ago.
I think the fact that I bought a chainsaw and used it made an impression on you.
It did. I was like, this guy's, I'm not going over his house again after the last time he killed someone.
In fact, I now have a branch that has come down against my house, and I'm debating whether to use my chainsaw or to call a guy. And I'm thinking call a guy just because it's high enough and heavy enough.
Please don't.
Yeah.
Please don't. I mean, don't do it yourself.
No, I knew that's what you meant. I didn't think you were going, don't spend money on a guy.
And because I'm not even going to go into like, I was kidding around with him and then he fell off the roof. I'm not even kidding around. Do not do it.
No, it's not. It's not on the roof. It's not. There would be a ladder involved, but not on the roof.
Okay, I'm going to try and get this name right. Comer? How would you pronounce that?
Gomar Comer is how I pronounce it.
Is it a takeoff on Gomer Pyle?
I don't think so. I think it's a
All right,
takeoff.
Gomar.
I think it's a
that's his
takeoff
name.
on their name. Yeah.
I'm sorry, Gomar. Do you know why I said that? Because everyone has joke names. Okay. So
Everyone has joke names.
Don't mock me when I'm trying to apologize.
Don't mock me, man. Burp, 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 burp.
Any Stanley Cup predictions? Now, here's the thing, Josh. I don't know if I told you this. I've decided to change my philosophy. I bought the baseball package.
You did tell me that.
Okay. And I started watching the NHL because someone told me the Rangers were in it.
Uh-huh.
So I'm going to predict that the Rangers, did they win the first game of their round?
I have no idea.
I'm going to predict the Rangers. I'm hoping.
I predict I won't watch any of it.
All right. Have you ever gone to a live game? They're fun live hockey.
Oh, yeah. I like it.
Yeah.
I'm not anti-hockey. I'm just not interested.
I don't think that you're anti any sport, really, except for I don't like cricket.
I have cricket issues. I dislike any sport I don't understand at all.
And people have tried to explain cricket to me.
Yeah, and I'm sure. I mean, I kind of understand. I couldn't explain it to somebody.
Right.
But if I were to look at a description of cricket, I would go, oh, right.
Yeah, but I've seen it at least 20 or 30 times, and I still have no idea. Are they trying to get the ball first strike? Doesn't seem like it is. Are they trying to hit the guy with the wicky? I don't know what's going on. I really don't.
Okay.
And then they run. Sometimes they run. Sometimes they don't.
Andy, I believe you when you say you don't know what's going on.
Okay, thank you. I'm going to go right over you and do chaotic neutral.
All right.
Chaotic neutral. Hey, guys, so I noticed that Frank Conniff still writes for the Jimmy Dore show. Just wondering if politics ever comes up in conversation. I will just say this. I know that Frank was friends with Jimmy Dore from years ago, and Frank is a very loyal friend. So that's why I think he may write for him, or maybe I don't think he currently writes for him, but I don't know.
He's saying he does. I don't know if that's the case anymore. But if he does, we all need work. There's one thing. So,
and he's and he just is very. I mean, I admire that he is such a good. Frank goes after everybody. So the fact that he doesn't want to go after someone who's a friend of his is understandable to me. But Jimmy Dore, the separate issue is Jimmy Dore is one of the worst people on the air right now. I mean, he's just awful. Nothing to do with. I love Frank. I'm just saying Jimmy's gotten really horrible.
Yeah, I know other people who work for awful people too. That's not a slam at you. You're looking like it was. It wasn't.
Well,
you don't work for anybody.
I don't work for you. I work for you.
Huh?
No.
I generally don't talk politics with Frank. Just because, A, we generally agree on most things, and B, he's more strident than me, and I don't need more of that in my life. And
I'll say, I resonate well with him because we have a similar anger. So I love being around him, and there's nobody funnier about politics.
John Hand says, for decades, MST 3000 was my primary sleep aid. Later adding lots of riff tracks into the mix, now Thought Spiral is also a weekly mainstay. My girlfriend uses CPAP and sleeps with the two dogs. I, alone with my diversions. How do you guys prepare for Dreamland?
I'm very proud
that my life's work has caused you to fall asleep regularly.
Yeah, I think that he wanted us to go over that joke quickly and then get to the second part. You shouldn't be listening to our show to put you to sleep. I'm just want to complain about that.
Yeah. No, I have absolutely no problem with anybody using any of my stuff. It means they're that comfortable with me.
Well, also, but you have said that you do listen to books on tape before you go to sleep.
Yeah,
not on tape,
or podcasts, or yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I can't listen because if I listen, I'm listening, unless it's like sleepy music.
It causes me to tune out like school.
Oh, okay, cool. Very, 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 very happy. Joshua Cohn says, fellas, I'm sure you've been asked this before, but why not just one episode with Allison and or Susan as a guest? Or are you deliberately trying to maintain a Vera Peterson-esque? I got to start again. I'm sorry. One more time. Fellas, I'm sure you've been asked this before, but why not just one episode with Allison? I can't do it now.
Are you deliberately trying to maintain a Vera Peterson-esque mystique about them?
Is that from the show with David Lynch?
No, that's Cheers. That's Norm's wife.
Oh, she never was on the show. Right. Well, they're not going to come on the show. They don't want to be on the show. So how would they have them? They'll have no desire to listen to the show.
Well, that's only partially true. Allison would come on in a second, but she would.
Oh.
But she still wouldn't listen to the show.
Right. And Susan would not come on.
Right.
Because Allison's a performer.
Yes.
So I think we should do it.
Allison is a lover of attention in most forms. And I say that with love. No, she would agree with that.
John Dunbar wants to know, did you know if you put chunks and hence the humor into a playlist and shuffle it, it's like hearing a classic episode of Thought Spiral? You can even get your requisite attack on Bill Maher. Yeah, but you don't. Do you slam Bill Maher?
No, but you do.
Right. This is shuffling it. Well, if you shuffled Josh and myself, you would not need any more comedy. That's all I'm going to say.
We're like the album version of Mr. Saturday Night. We cover it all.
First thing I'm doing after the show, I'm Googling Jerry Lewis, Mr. Saturday Night.
Okay, just know for the record, I'm not disputing. I just don't.
Oh,
remember.
I know. I think that's disputing.
Rotten Louie says, "Hey, hello guys. Thanks for making my Mondays something to look forward to. In my opinion, I think Abbott and Costello's Who's on First is a perfect bit, and I literally laugh out loud every time I hear it. Do you both have any old bits that affect you in the same way?" Very few. I was thinking about this the other day about what actually makes me laugh aloud, which is a very short list of things. Albert Brooks does it. You on the pogo stick will do it. Yeah, no, there's not that many. There's not that many that make me laugh out loud.
Every time I see, what was the guy on Letterman who had the funny name? Calvin DeForest, but his name was
Larry Bud Melman.
Yes. Every time I saw the one where he would interview people as he handed the towels, I laughed at that every single time.
Yeah.
Because he's not sure where to put the microphone when he's asking the question.
Right.
But then,
But something heavily written, like Who's on First, isn't gonna work with me over and over.
Except if you haven't heard Who's on First all the way through, you should listen to the Abbott and Costello.
Yeah, you should
version because it's pretty funny.
It is.
Seth Dick III says, "Reminder for the weekend: don't turn around. Oh, the commissar's in town. Ali's Cloud. You pronounce those last two.
Ali's Cloud here, commissar.
Is the commissar in town?
Ja.
I used to call myself the commissar.
Really?
When that song was popular?
Uh-huh. I called myself Falco.
Hey, we have one more question left. Can you believe it?
We did a version of that song with Gruber singing lead once with one of our bands, one of our wedding
That
bands.
was good, I bet.
We did Dear Commissar. It was good. And then I think we blended it right into Safety Dance.
And did you play a lot of not Al Lewis. What was I trying to say?
Al Stewart?
Yeah.
The Year of the Cat.
Richard Cole says, "Have you ever met Lily Tomlin? Was she warm and charming in person? I love listening to her comedy albums in the 70s. I've never met her. I don't think she is that charming in person because I mean, she can be very charming.
I don't get the sense that she's very warm. She might be charming.
Not warm.
Yeah.
She's very charming. And if you've seen her yell at David O. Russell, it's pretty good.
That's pretty awesome, yeah.
It's pretty awesome.
And I think she's right.
Which is what?
And that's when she's yelling at David O. Russell.
Oh, yeah. He's terrible. He's a terrible. He really proves himself to be a bad human being in that.
Well, he seems to. I won't take a day on movie set as the entirety
You're
of the
right.
person.
I retract it. I retract it. And I'm sure they got into giving it to each other, right?
I would think. That seemed like the product of many days of hostility coming out. And speaking of the product of many days of hostility, if you'd like to support this one, go to buymeacoffee.com/thoughtspiral and buy us a coffee or two or monthly or something. If you don't want to spend money on us, but still like us, go to Apple Podcasts, leave a review, leave 5 stars. That's all you have to do to help.
Also, if you'd like to hang up on us, The best way to do that is to
Find a red button. Ba 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 ba.
dementia.